So I've been asked that question a lot, and I understand it. I think the biggest thing is just establishing our program. You know, we have new coaches, there's new players, there's guys there that I didn't recruit or was a part of. Our conference has changed and gotten better. Coaches have changed in our conference. Our team systems have changed. Our facilities have changed. You know, just embracing all those things. But then we have to establish ourselves as a new team, a new program. And so spring ball was good. Summer, the new rule really helped us to be out there and be around these guys. But we still have a long ways to go through fall camp, and we'll still be establishing that throughout the season.
A lot of people in your spot will say, I mean, it's better than the alternative, whereas programs that haven't won or there's apathy and you're trying to build that, you're just, I guess, maintaining excellence and trying to.
Yeah, there's a standard, there's an expectation and a standard that's been set there. I would much rather come into that, you know, than trying to rebuild, because your players know that. But a little bit like we talked about, we embrace the past. You can go back and look at the success that Boise State has had. All right, now we can't just sit there and rely on that and say we're going to do it because it's happened. What are we going to do about it? So I really think from this point on, it's a turning point in our program to go back and now we establish for this staff and this team and teams moving forward, okay, what are we going to do? You know, what's our record going to look like in the next 5 or 6 years? What are we going to establish for Boise State? Are we going to have a chance to be in one of those playoff games when it's all said and done? So we have to take those expectations and reestablish them.
Are you feeling more pressure replacing Coach Peterson or replacing Jake Plummer in high school?
Oh, both sucked. I've seen to do that. You know, I replaced Dan Hawkins as the tight ends coach when he was the tight ends coach as the head coach, and so when he stepped out of that, I replaced him too. I just seem to have a trend of doing that. Both are tough. You know, I think this situation's a little bit easier because I was just the other guy when Jake Plummer left, so that's kind of how that worked out.
Did that situation, is there any way that helps you for this, or just too many years have passed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I knew where I stood when Jake was there, so I just happened to be the fill-in for the next 2 years. But it's just kind of, I mean, it's kind of a funny story because of, you know, what's happened and kind of the way that I guess my path has gone a little bit. I laugh a little bit at those type of things. But we'll see on this one.
I mean, Coach Pearson were 92-12, and by the end, it wasn't good enough for some folks in Boise. I mean, is that unrealistic?
I don't think it's Boise, and I think this. I mean, football in Boise, Idaho is really important, and so those expectations. I mean, we don't shy away from that. I mean, I think that's a good thing. That might not be good at a lot of, you know. I mean, that's how it is, because he's won and the program has won. You know, those become the expectations that can be done year in and year out. And the reality of it is, it takes a tremendous amount of work to get that done year in and year out. You got to have the right type of guys. You got to have players that stay healthy. There's so many factors that go into it. I think one of the neatest things is how Boise State during that period of time when Chris was there in particular was able to sustain all those things with players, the expectations, reestablishing expectations after big years. You know, what can you do? You're undefeated. What can you do this year? We can try to go undefeated again. That to me is the whole trick in this thing.
So are we going to see more of the old Boise State pro-style offense that we saw under Peterson, or are we going to see this is a question you probably get more than the second most question you get, or are we going to see the hurry-up spread that we saw last year?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. You know, Mike Sanford running the offense and all that, obviously coming from Stanford. They had a way of what they did, which I really liked. We've had a philosophy when I was there that we did that I liked. A little bit different, you know, what they were doing last year. But it evolves. I mean, we evolved at Texas, we evolved at Arkansas State, so we'll bring those ideas, and there'll be a mixture of both. You'll see movement, you'll see tight ends, you'll see no huddle, you'll see huddle. We'll have a mixture of it. Ultimately, as we get through fall camp, you know, that's to be determined.
What did you learn last year in your first year as a head coach? Was there one thing that stood out, or something that you really want to bring with you?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it wasn't really scheme. It's people. I mean, that's the biggest thing. What I learned was dealing with people. That each and every day there's going to be 5 or 6 things that come up that you didn't anticipate, but need to be handled, and need to be handled the right way. And the most important thing you got are the people and how you treat them. Whether you want to do it right then or not, or you have something you really have to get done, that might be the most important conversation you have with that person ever, and to not forget about that. So, you know, that's just how it is, just rolling with that, and really doing I think delegating, you know, having really good people around you, to where if you're not able to get to something, you got somebody that's going to be able to do it, and they're going to do it right and do it the way you want it done. So ultimately, people.
How much thought actually put into the depth chart that was in the?
I call it a pecking order. Yeah, about as much thought as we put into it. You know, I mean, really, that's just, you know, there's some things. There's some obvious ones in there. I mean, Matt Miller, Shane. There's some guys in there that you know are Dante Dion. They're going to be in that position. All right, we have players that have established themselves that are going to play, but for the most part, it's not. You see the Ole Miss game, that'll be our depth chart.
Matt was actually left off by mistake, I think.
That's why I brought him. Yeah.
Hey, Bryan, can you talk a little bit